Welcome. My name is James Baroud, and today we continue our series of conversations focusing on innovation. Innovation is critical to the success and growth of small and large companies alike, and we plan to explore and understand this topic through the perspective of business leaders so that you can learn how to develop and sustain innovation at your own organization. It is my pleasure now to welcome Len Green, one of the most successful entrepreneurs I know, and head of the Green Group, one of the most dynamic family businesses in the region. Len is a nationally recognized tax expert and is into so many businesses, 14 at last count, that I'll just mention a few: real estate, consulting, accounting services, thoroughbred racing, and pet food. Len also finds time to teach and lecture at Babson and Fairleigh Dickinson universities, two of the best entrepreneurship programs in the country, where he routinely ranked as one of the best faculty. Thanks for joining us, Len. Tell us about your entrepreneurial journeys.
Thanks for having me here, Jim. It's kind of fun to talk about yourself, but more importantly, if you're going to talk about yourself, hope that the people who are watching it get something from it and get a different perspective on things. It's amazing looking back over the years, people would say, there's no chance in the world that you're going to be successful. You graduated next to last from your class in high school, next to last from your class in college. You got fired from your first 7 jobs. Those are not necessarily, unless you're Bill Gates or somebody like that, not necessarily, what you normally think of success. But the important thing is that people mature at different times, but more importantly, they find their passion at different times. And it's finding that passion that I think is the difference between success and failure and in the world kind of thing. And finding that thing sometimes comes by chance. Sometimes I say to my students who I teach, what section of the paper do you pick up first? Okay. If you had to pick 2 or 3 things that you really enjoy doing, never mind whether you can make a living of it, what would you do? Once you find that, then you put that together and say, okay, how do I get knowledge enough to be able to do it? And then the most important part is, how do I find a problem out there that's not being solved or that I can solve better than somebody else? Mm-hmm. Do that, and then a world opens up.
But I find it so interesting how you graduated from college, and then you've come to this point now where you run so many businesses. Can you take us through that?
Well, I think you have to start at the lowest point first. And believe it or not, the lowest point was not getting fired from 7 jobs. It was when my Air Force unit got activated into active duty. And suddenly I found myself taking orders, okay? No innovation. Nobody wanted to change things, okay? You worked 100-degree weather with no air conditioning. You suddenly got to a point where you say to yourself, there's got to be a better way. And for me, it was as silly as going out and buying a $1.95 J.K. Lasser tax book. And I became the tax guru of the base, doing everybody's tax returns, et cetera, kind of thing. And then when I got out of there under the GI Bill, I said, gee, maybe I ought to go back and get a graduate degree in taxation. And the first day in class, the professor said, is this deductible? And I shot my hand up. I said, yes, it is. And he said, okay, what's your source? And I said, J.K. Lasser book. And everybody in the class laughed, Jim, because they were talking about case law and regulations and codes and private rulings. I had no idea, never taken a tax course in my life. Thought I could go to graduate school for taxation because I enjoyed it so much and because I had memorized this book and I knew everything that was deductible and everything that was an income. And the professor gave me a dime and told me to make a telephone call, that kind of story, because you obviously can't make it. And of course, the other part of it, I was married and am married to a wonderful woman who I came home and told the story that I just couldn't hack this thing because these people were all from the large firms, large law firms, accounting firms, and talking about a language I had nothing about. And she said something which still sticks in my mind. She said, I guess you can't hack it, Len. Boom. I said, sure, I can hack it. Okay, I'll go back there and I'll do every case in every different way, deductible, non-deductible, back it up, et cetera, just to prove them that I can do it. Graduated #1, which then led to go to a national firm, which then gave me the exposure to an awful lot of smart people, and then worked my way up the ladder and suddenly realized that as much as I love taxes, I love business. and entrepreneurship even better. So when the opportunity came, I gave up the chance to be a partner to start all over again. I remember coming home and saying, Lois, I just bought a shopping center. We're $8 million in debt. I have no job. And she says, and I'm pregnant. She says, and I have no job. So you start there, and everything from there is up.
Right.
But again, I knew the real estate area because I had, when I was at Deloitte Touche, learned the business part as well as the tax part, which gave me a competitive advantage.
Right.
Okay, and then I had the opportunity to take some calculated risks, which I did, and it worked out very, very well. And that was just the start of it. And then it was a question of, okay, were you lucky, Jim, because you happened to hit real estate at the right time? Or could you really handle business in general? So I went back and took some advanced courses at Harvard just to see if I really could handle with the right knowledge, handle business as well as my specialty.
Well, let's fast forward to today.
Well, what I do is I love to be on advisory boards, and I love to teach, as you know. So we sat around one day on one of my advisory boards and said, you know what? There's a lot of drinks out there, but there's no real healthy drink out there. Okay? And all the 40 and 50-year-olds were sitting around saying, well, you know, we can't really do it because Coke is out there and Pepsi is out there and all the big guys. And the young 20-year-olds were saying, yeah, there really is there. Let's have a funky drink, okay? Something with lizards on it and something that we can sell to X Games and things like that. And Sobe was born, okay? Or we're sitting around one day and saying, you know what? Looks like that Wellness, which is the #1 healthiest dog food, cat food, has just been turned down by PetSmart, okay? Because they don't want to comply. And therefore, PetSmart is looking for a new, holistic, very healthy dog food, cat food. And then there's a little article that said Dr. Bob Goldstein has just come up with an anti-cancer bit. There's an energy drink out that would make, if you mix it with dog food, cat food, reduce cancer by 75%. So I said, hey, let's go out and buy Dr. Bob Goldstein's formula, and let's have a new pet food. Okay, and let's call up PetSmart, and let's make a presentation. So we did, and they bought 1 million SKUs. And I came home and said to my wife, Lois, we just got an order for 1 million SKUs, and she said something silly like, but you have no product, you have no manufacturer, you have no label. I said, yeah, but we got an order for 1 million SKUs, and we know we can make the best dog food, cat food kind of thing. So that's the kind of things that you do. And then lately, okay, well, same thing with the real estate. Everybody else was buying different kinds of real estate, shopping centers, this, that, and the other thing. And I said, no, let's just buy the shopping center tenant in it and just take that lease and get financing for it, et cetera, because that's really where it is, the main company. So all our shopping centers, all we do is buy the anchor store.
Is that
so
right?
Again, uniqueness of the, okay? Accounting firm is the same thing. How many accounting firms do accounting? Well, we do some accounting, we do a lot of good tax work, but we also do asset management, insurance, mortgages, evaluations, entrepreneurial services, because I think this idea, and each time you have an idea, then when the next opportunity comes up to be innovative, then it fits in. For instance, we had a chance to make a hostile takeover of a New York Stock Exchange company in the envelope business that had lost something like $500 million, gone from a $30 stock to a $5 stock. We made a hostile takeover of it because we had some knowledge of the industry. Okay, we bought it. Okay, took that stock now from $4 up to $25. We've added, though, companies. Okay, so now we're not just the envelope business, we're the printing business or the label business. We're a one-stop shop now.
Len, you talk about opportunities. And when we talk about innovation, it's about exploiting opportunities and taking them from idea to reality. Obviously, you've done that with many of the businesses you do. But when you talk, when you think about innovation, what does that mean to you?
To me, innovation is thinking differently than other people think. If you think the same way as everybody else, you know better than they are. Okay? If you do things the way they've always been done, that's why companies fail. To me, companies fail because, number one, they don't have innovation, but they don't reinvent themselves. And they don't reinvent themselves because they're not listening to either the customers or they're not motivating the people around them. I mean, I have a great team. You can't